Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Grant relief or an exemption from a rule or requirement to. She exempted me from the exam. Of goods or funds, not subject to taxation. Income exempt from taxation. Grant exemption or release to. Of persons, freed from or not subject to an obligation or liability, as e.g. taxes, to which others or other things are subject. A beauty somehow exempt from the aging process. Not taken up by scheduled activities. A free hour between classes. Part with a possession or right. Not fixed in position. He pulled his arm free and ran. Relieve from. Free or remove obstruction from. Free a path across the cluttered floor. Remove or force out from a position. He finally could free the legs of the earthquake victim who was buried in the rubble. Grant freedom to. Free from confinement. Make assets available. Release gas or energy as a result of a chemical reaction or physical decomposition. Free from obligations or duties. Make information available for publication. Completely wanting or lacking. People who are free. The home of the free and the brave. Not literal. A free translation of the poem. Without restraint. Costing nothing. Free admission. Grant relief or an exemption from a rule or requirement to. Let off the hook. Not held in servitude. After the Civil War he was a free man. Not limited or hampered, not under compulsion or restraint. Free enterprise. Not occupied or in use. A free locker. Unconstrained or not chemically bound in a molecule or not fixed and capable of relatively unrestricted motion. Free expansion. Provide relief for. Free someone temporarily from his or her obligations. Lessen the intensity of or calm. Relieve oneself of troubling information. Provide physical relief, as from pain. This pill will relieve your headaches. Save from ruin, destruction, or harm. Grant relief or an exemption from a rule or requirement to. Alleviate or remove pressure or stress, or make less oppressive. Relieve the pressure and the stress. Grant exemption or release to. Free from a burden, evil, or distress. Take by stealing. The thief relieved me of $100. Of goods or funds, not subject to taxation. The funds of nonprofit organizations are non-taxable. A defense of some offensive behavior or some failure to keep a promise, etc. He kept finding excuses to stay. Excuse, overlook, or make allowances for, be lenient with. Excuse someone's behavior. Ask for permission to be released from an engagement. Serve as a reason or cause or justification of. Your need to sleep late does not excuse your late arrival at work. Accept an excuse for. Please excuse my dirty hands. Grant exemption or release to. Please excuse me from this class. Defend, explain, clear away, or make excuses for by reasoning. A poor example. A poor excuse for an automobile. A note explaining an absence. He had to get his mother to write an excuse for him. Grant exemption or release to. Of goods or funds, not taxed. An untaxed expense account. Exempt from duty. Duty-free liquor. A security that is not subject to taxation. Of goods or funds, not taxed. Tax-exempt bonds. Of goods or funds, not taxed. Not subject to locally assessed property taxes. Unrateable properties. Relating to or conferring immunity to disease or infection. A person who is immune to a particular infection. Secure against. Immune from taxation as long as he resided in Bermuda. Usually followed by to, not affected by a given influence. Immune to persuasion. Relating to the condition of immunity. The immune system. Confined to an exclusive group. Privileged information. Blessed with privileges. The privileged few. Not subject to usual rules or penalties. A privileged statement. Granted exemption. One of the excused jurors planned to write a book. Grant remission of a sin to. The priest absolved him and told him to say 10 Hail Marys. Let off the hook. I absolve you from this responsibility. Absolve from payment. I forgive you your debt. Stop blaming or grant forgiveness. She cannot forgive him for forgetting her birthday. Not taken up by scheduled activities. Spare time on my hands. Thin and fit. The spare figure of a marathon runner. Refrain from harming. Lacking embellishment or ornamentation. An extra car wheel and tire for a 4-wheel vehicle. Give up what is not strictly needed. He asked if they could spare one of their horses to speed his journey. More than is needed, desired, or required. Sleeping in the spare room. An extra component of a machine or other apparatus. Lacking in magnitude or quantity. A spare diet. A score in 10 pins, knocking down all 10 after rolling 2 balls. Kept in reserve especially for emergency use. A spare tire. Save or relieve from an experience or action. I'll spare you from having to apologize formally. Use frugally or carefully. Lift the regulations on. Make free from restrictions. Give or apply medications. Administer or bestow, as in small portions. The machine dispenses soft drinks. Grant a dispensation. Grant an exemption. I was dispensed from this terrible task. A smooth textured sausage of minced beef or pork, usually smoked, often served on a bread roll. Characterized by directness in manner or speech, without subtlety or evasion. Tell me what you think, and you may just as well be frank. Stamp with a postmark to indicate date and time of mailing. A member of the ancient Germanic peoples who spread from the Rhine into the Roman Empire in the 4th century. Clearly manifest, evident. Frank enjoyment. Exempt by means of an official pass or letter, as from customs or other checks.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.